welcome to Bendy, a podcast about being flexible in all of the ways that means. Thanks for joining us. My name is Andy Young, and I'm one of your sane, normal hosts. Joining me as always is our other sane and normal host, Beth Martin. Beth, a pleasure as always. What's the crack?
That's tongue-in-cheek.
Right? Don't tell them. They have to. Shh, the secret. They have to think we're sane and normal. That's what the people like. Sane and normal.
Right. That's what's interesting.
Yeah, isn't it? Yeah.
So Saturday Night Live turned 50.
Oh yeah, I've watched some of the. Sketches.
So they had It's really been. So it's like they've been doing like documentaries. I haven't actually watched. I started to watch the movie Saturday Night.
Oh yeah.
Is it Saturday Night or Saturday Night Live? I can't remember. Saturday
Night Live, I think, but I can't remember.
But I started watching that. But they've got like they did a documentary showing like people's audition tapes, and then like had them watch them and then like talk about like what it was like auditioning and like what their time was like on SNL, and it was really like it made me fucking jealous that I wasn't a comedian and I didn't get to experience like being on the cast of Saturday Night Live in like my 20s or whatever.
Yeah,
because it just seems like the coolest bunch of people, like in like one of the most intense pressure cooker experiences.
Yes.
And like improv and theater and like, sketch comedy and all that. Just like, I'm like, none of them, it's like having such an intense experience. It's like there's a little club of people that really understand like what that experience is like. And it's just so sweet to see them all like reminiscing and seeing like their young selves and being like, I can't believe I did that, or wow, that was impressive, or wow, that made me sad. But then they also had a reunion, like a 3-hour reunion episode show that brought back like all the people that have hosted, and it was just really awesome and fun and like took me down memory lane, and I loved it. And I don't know, the rumor is that Lorne Michaels is retiring this year.
Yes.
And I don't know why the fuck he would do that.
I think, like, it's interesting. So, like, I think I've talked a bit about, I think I said Enjoy before. The Lonely Island Seth Meyers podcast is fantastic. And it's such an insight into SNL and, like, their lives. I think you would dig it. Like, it's just, and it's also really short. Episodes are, like, under an hour as well. But because Seth was one of the names that was floated as replacement for him, but they said they were talking about it. I think this was the most recent episode was prior to the SNL 50 show, but they said that like he doesn't seem to be able to skip it. Like he obviously is a much older man now, but he is still so passionate about it. He understands everything that's going on, all aspects of the show. And yeah, it would be tough to imagine it without him, essentially.
Mm-hmm. And I know Tina Fey's been floated.
Yes,
my guess is I think she wants it.
Yeah.
Because I know her, like we're BFFs.
Of course.
So, but I think and he was like a producer of 50 Rock, Lauren for her. So I just get the sense that would make the most sense, and especially if she would like it. But it's like, I just like, there's certain people like Spielberg where I'm like, we watched Indiana Jones the other night, and I like put my phone down, I tucked I literally just sat there and like enjoyed the movie, which I never do. I'm always like up and running and like doing doing dishes. The first one, so Raiders of the Lost Ark, and it's such a good fucking movie.
It is.
There's no CG except for like the ghosty thingies, and it's so impressive. And then we watched like The Gorge, and it's all CG.
Oh yeah.
And it's like I don't get as it was a cool concept, but I didn't get as invested because it's like not really happening, know? And it's like, not to sound curmudgeon-y and curmudgeoningly, whatever. Someone correct me.
They will.
I know. I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry. They should be sorry.
But like, I just, sorry, I'm on a tangent. But like, I miss movies that like made an effort.
Yes, like
and employed a bunch more people.
Yes,
that weren't like behind a computer.
That feel real. You know. Apparently,
it's such a good fucking movie.
Yes, I agree. It is. It so is. Like, it's incredible, and you know, it's almost certainly a masterpiece. I think I think I've talked to you as well. Like, the podcast I listen to, the movie podcast I listen to, is currently doing a run through all of Spielberg's easy film, or early films, I should say, and they're talking about like his initial run, which was like, apart from 1941, every one of them is a timeless classic. Essentially, yes. I mean, you have Jaws, then 1941, then Close Encounters, then Raiders, then E.T., and it's like, nobody has a run like that. Nobody,
no.
You know?
And like, so I feel like Lawrence shouldn't give up because he's a gift to the world.
Yes.
And like the humor that we need, like, it's kind of like Jon Stewart retiring, you know? It was just like,
I hear
you. Need you now, you know? Like, I don't care if you're a human and you have your own needs. Like, our needs are greater than your needs. And I feel that way about Lorne. And like Spielberg, I was like, why isn't he directing fucking movies? And Mike's like, he's old. I'm like, I don't fucking care. He has a job to do.
Yes.
The job is really to put these movies out that we desperately need.
Agreed. So. And this, Beth, is what you need to watch. His West Side Story version.
Damn it!
It's so good. It's so
not gonna do it.
Okay.
No, I will. I will.
Yeah, I did. I seen some of the stuff because they put like, I was actually curious about watching the entire SNL 50 show, but it's tricky to do over here unless you've got Peacock, and I'm not paying for Peacock. So instead, I've watched a lot of individual sketches on.
Yeah, and that's fine.
And I mean, like, it's like, I've seen some like the Scared Straight sketch is sensational, so good. In fact, like, I ended up just watching a lot of Eddie Murphy stuff, like the Black Jeopardy stuff.
Eddie Murphy's hair was like,
oh, so good. But the Black Jeopardy sketch where he is playing Tracy Morgan beside Tracy Morgan playing another character. It's so good. It's so good. So yeah, really great stuff.
They also did, as part of the 50 show, they did, some of it was nostalgic, and like, they did an in memoriam, and I was like, oh god, I don't know if I can do this. But then it was like in memoriam, and it was like all of the like PC things that they're not allowed to say anymore.
I've heard about this.
It was really good.
Yeah, I would like to see the whole thing at some point. I might try to track it down. Yeah. I saw John Hamm asking them questions, all the celebrities in the crowd. John Hamm going, guys, am I funny? And I'm like, yeah, John. Like, here's the thing we say about you. Whenever we need somebody to be in a sketch, John always says yes. It was just really great. Yeah. Okay. So since we last spoke, I've been playing some more D&D. I had a lovely session. What I really love about D&D is I have no idea. I go in prepped for, as many eventualities as I possibly can, but inevitably encounter something that I can't possibly imagine, and it's always delightful to me, So it's just been great fun. It's just been great fun. I always enjoy it, and I'm continuing to have it. Be thrilled because I had this big monster that was fighting them. It was kind of a construct, and the way they decided to deal with it was just completely beyond what I could have imagined. They kind of befriended it in a way that I really kind of like rewarding creative choices. Yeah. And I just gave them some difficult rules. They passed, and I was like, okay. We just had a great, and one of the guys was a guy that they had to confront, and I was like, okay, so I had this sort of scene set up. It was him and one of his allies, but he didn't really kind of realize they were coming to the party were coming to track him down. So the first guy went into the room and he goes, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take out my hand axe. I'm going to chop the guy's hand off. I was like, whoa. And I just completely this whole combat encounter, he just caught it. He just stopped it immediately because the guy he almost killed the guy in one blow. Took his hand off. The guy like started begging for his life. It was so funny. So yes, constantly delightful and hilarious and wild to me, the decisions they made. So yeah, really good fun.
Good. How many like sessions do you do?
We're doing 2 a month currently.
But like how? I mean, sorry, the dog is like right at my feet.
Sorry.
No. So like, you've got a basic like story arc.
So, at the minute, I'm doing pre-written stuff because my hope is that whenever I get a bit more time freed up, I have an idea for a larger arc for these guys that I kind of want to lead them down. But currently, I've got pre-written stuff that I had purchased.
Is there an ending, or does it just go forever?
Like, if I do my own story, I'd like to lead it to some sort of big conflict, and we've talked as a group about some of the other guys potentially running games and stuff. And I also have a Star Wars RPG that I wouldn't mind playing at some point. So I think once we get out of these pre-written things, I have an idea and a kind of ending in mind. So that's what I'm kind of going to lean towards is like I've already started seeding even within the pre-written stuff. Some of them I've asked them to reach out to me with like a bit of background in their characters, and I want to like try to like put that through the story a little bit. So I've already started seeding certain things, some breadcrumbs to a larger story. So I'm at least doing that, but I'm keen to, tell something bigger in the long run.
Cool.
So yeah. I have also, since the last I spoke to you, we did two shows for the choir in one day. It was a lot. It will be something I'll be talking about later.
Okay.
That's a lot. It is a lot. And it's just, I was just absolutely shattered by the end of it, and it took most of my Saturday. So kind of like, it is it's just a lot. It is what it is. Also, so last week I talked about doing a workshop on songwriting. I also did a workshop on recording in a studio. Yep. And what that looked like was we went into a professional studio. They had a
joint.
Huh?
They had a joint.
Got a joint. Yeah, they did a big joint. A little bit big joint. They had a singer, a multi-instrumentalist who did keys and drums and bass guitar. They had a guitarist. What they did was they went in. They laid down the piano as a bass, which I thought was interesting, as their kind of like rhythm, the rhythm that everything else was going to be based off. A vocal scratch track. Then they all recorded their individual parts. Then we kind of pieced them together into a complete song. Very interesting to see.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never been into a sound. Like, I've been behind like a mixing board for like lights and state for theater, but never for like music. Ever?
Yeah.
I'm jealous. I want that experience.
Yeah, it was like, and once again, free. And I was just like, I don't know how these things aren't completely filled. It's madness to me, but it's just people, I don't see this stuff, I guess. But and there was talk about maybe
people are lazy, like me.
This is also true. I know. Yeah.
I have to drive there.
Yeah, and me, I'm like, oh, gimme something new. So like there was talk about maybe doing, and the studio is very close to my house.
So
there's
cool.
talk about, I know, there's talk about maybe doing a longer sort of course down there, and I'm like, I'm all for it. So keep me posted. So that was really cool.
Who sponsors this stuff?
The local council is my understanding. So basically, I think I've talked to you a little bit before about the government or the agency that I work with. It's called Positive Carrickfergus, and they are trying to do things in Carrick, and this is the sort of thing they get funding for, basically, so to run these sorts of workshops, so yeah, it was great.
So cool.
Yeah, it was really, really was. Like, it was such a fun thing to do.
We have like backcountry quilters here.
Hey, that
there
rocks,
is a ukulele class.
Okay.
That at the library. And there's a Tai Chi class.
Okay.
There's AA.
Oh, fun.
And that's about it.
Okay. Yeah. I think we're doing all right in that case. Yeah, I've got to say.
Or I drive like 45 minutes, and then it's like everything is available.
Yeah, this is also true. So. Yeah. Yeah. So that's been my my week since we last spoke. But yeah, I think. So we move on. Do you have any what's occurring this week?
Somebody mentioned we were talking about Bob Dylan and
oh yeah,
his movie. Somebody just mentioned that the album Desire got them through a bad bout of food poisoning.
Interesting.
And I was like, all right, so maybe give that a listen.
Okay.
And then it was just like one of those like memory things where you connect like an experience to an album, and I was like, and I started reminiscing about my album experiences, and The Matrix is one of those. The Matrix soundtrack.
Yeah.
I listened to that over and over and over and over and over and over again one night. In a similar, headspace. So
yeah, it's a lot of cool stuff on that album. Yeah.
I will say, and I mentioned it to this person, you can actually have too much Fatboy Slim.
Absolutely, you can. I definitely back up that opinion. Love it. Yeah, I'm trying to think. As you were saying, I was trying to think if there's any albums that I have that
like
connection
a distinctive memory.
I don't know that I mean, like, probably if I really thought about it, but nothing's springing to mind. But like, I mean, I know that there are, back in the day, whenever I just had a collection of CDs or whatever, there are some albums that are just imprinted in my brain and will be forever. You know.
I read that Wu-Tang is getting back together.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a final tour.
Okay.
So if you're here in June, they're coming to San Diego.
I did see them, but like, Method Man wasn't there, and I'm kind of like, what the fuck's the point? If Method Man's not here, like, what am I doing? What am I doing here exactly? You know?
No, they're like, how did they get like everybody back? But apparently they are. So I'm passing that along, that information.
I'm interested.
It's possible they'll add international.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I'm very curious. I love it. Okay.
But we still. Yeah, we can. We still have CDs. Like, the kids have CD players, so we still do. Like, Harper ran out the other night. She's like, I can't find Amadeus anywhere. And I'm like, okay, well. Like,
I love it.
I know.
Like, I ended up saying, like, it was one of the things, I may have talked a bit about this before, but in one of the jobs I used to have, I had so much time on my hands, and I was like, what am I going to do to like burn off this time? So I took in 10 CDs at a time and digitized my entire CD collection.
Yep.
So like then whenever I was looking to buy my house and I needed like a lot of money and I was selling a ton of stuff, I sold basically all those CDs then. I do kind of miss them, but I'm also deeply lazy, and I don't know that I would really kind of make the effort to
replace or
even go over there
shelf
and put a CD in. I think that's what like stops me from record collecting as well. Is like I do like that in theory.
Records
but, like,
are a whole thing.
I agree, and it's like, a whole hobby.
We have like a 6 CD changer in the living room, and it's all set up. But like the act of like we have a friend that still listens. Like, we'll go over to his place, and he's like, "Oh, let's put a record on," and then it's like 30 minutes later, you're like, "All right, flip it over. All right, we got to figure out another one," which like is fun, and it like adds an element of like, then you're talking about music and you're going through all of the different albums. So there, I guess, like,
yes, from that point of view and like that sort of engagement with music, I totally respect that, and like I think that like it's a whole other, it's a full hobby, like, and I don't know that I have space for it, but I do love. I have a friend who, if I spend time with him, he's like, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have a few drinks. I'm going to, like, for example, take you through all of the Beach Boys catalogue post the famous stuff. And I'm like, fuck yeah. Or, like, I'm going to take you through early Fleetwood Mac. Okay. I love that. I'm there for that tour, Over Christmas, we decided to listen, me and my friend decided to listen to all of George Michael's albums to see what they were like.
Yeah. Like starting like with Wham?
Yes.
Okay.
Starting no. Start all the solo stuff. All the solo stuff. Solo. But like just to see, and it was interesting, like a lot of great stuff there, but there was also a lot of overproduced 80s sort of stuff. It was an interesting experience. But like when the big songs came on, you were like, this guy was undeniable, you know? So very interesting. I mean,
who else comes up with guilty feet have got no rhythm?
Right? Exactly.
I've never thought about my feet being guilty.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, that's all I can think about. Yeah. I love it.
That's so random. Like,
I know. But like, it's interesting because we were talking about song lyrics in the last episode as well, and like, it is, you know, whenever you really stop to think about a lot of song lyrics, you're kind of like, what the fuck?
Madonna.
Yeah.
Like, her song New York.
Mm-hmm. I don't think I know that. Really?
It's so bad. Oh, it's something like, everyone forgive me as I botch this.
Okay.
Like, I love New York. Other places make me feel like a dork. Literally.
Really?
New York rhymes with dork. And she wrote it down.
I always think that always makes me feel good if somebody of Madonna's fame level can get away with that.
Yeah,
you can get away with
anything. If you're gonna write a song about New York, you gotta fucking do it right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dork, you asshole. Okay. All right, I love it. Right, shall we move on to our topic?
No.
This week? Yes, you're avoiding it. I can tell.
More.
That's what I thought you were doing. I was wondering. All right, so it's time for our mental health quarterly review. As you know, we do these every quarter on the dot, religiously.
Ish.
Don't say it. I want them to be angry with me and look back and go, no, and it's not. Clearly there was the last one was done 5.2 months ago. Blah blah. You know, it's shit like that.
You have to look on the website for that because I took all the. They say like get the episode number out of the title, so now I redid it all. So now you don't you actually have to go to the website to see what number said thing was.
Amazing.
I don't want to talk about this clearly. Okay, yeah. Here we are. Let's do it.
Okay. So it's to say, just, you know, because it's a common theme throughout this podcast, and we do talk about our mental health off and on here. Mm-hmm. It's relevant to everybody. I think that, especially at the start of the year, it's something that is probably on people's minds, or at least, you know, part of their minds. One of the things I will say straight out of the gate is that, I don't know if I said it in the podcast before, I have found the past few years, in particular, the first few months, probably as much as 4 months, January to April, incredibly difficult. I have not found that to be the case this year. I am extremely grateful for it. I initially was saying I don't really understand why. I think I do in some ways, but I know that I've made some changes that have definitely helped, and I'm very grateful for that because it was brutal. The past 2 years were really brutal, and it hasn't been like that this year, and I am very relieved because it was not pleasant.
Yeah, and I think part of it is like awareness around the thing, right?
Yeah.
This thing, this vortex that I go into, like just being like, oh, there's a vortex. And then being like, okay, I can start to add stuff in there to pull myself out of it. And then like, okay, I did that worked. I did that didn't work. Like you're just, trial and error.
Absolutely. That's all you can do. Mm-hmm. So great start of the year. Can I ask how you're feeling at the start of?
Better. It's been a rough, couple months just like health-wise.
Yeah.
But I'm feeling like I couldn't tell if I was depressed or if I'm just like in chronic fatigue mode. Mm-hmm. And I've realized I'm just in chronic fatigue mode. I am not depressed. 3 weeks ago, I couldn't decipher the two, but now I'm like, okay, no, like I'm just fucking exhausted all the time.
Yes.
And other side things that happen with what I've got, but like that feels good.
Yep.
So like, you know, I'm actively like chronic fatigue is weird. Like I think at the beginning of the year I had fibromyalgia. I'm telling everyone my shit. Here you go, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But like I think I was depressed. I think I had a fibromyalgia flare, and I think I had a chronic fatigue flare all at the same time.
Bro.
And my hormones were off, and so like all the perfect storm. And I think part of it was because I had such a big last year. You know,
Yeah.
I did a lot last year, and the holidays. Like normally we leave, and I go somewhere tropical, and I think my body needs that.
Yep.
And we didn't do that this year, and so again, like you were saying, like, you know, what works and doesn't work. But like where I'm at now, I'm forcing myself to rest so that I can be, you know, 100% when the kids get off school and be present. So I'm better than I was, I guess.
That's good.
Yeah.
I think that, like, you know, even that sort of small change can make a big difference. And I you know, certainly I've seen it myself, those sorts of things as well, where it's like, you know, even a small sort of chink of light can make all the difference sometimes. So yeah, I'm grateful that, you know, at least you're starting to see some light at the end of the tunnel in that regard. You know, the light at the end of this particular tunnel, I should say, because we know how it goes sometimes. Yeah, it's like, so, like, you know, and it's interesting because one of the things I wanted to talk about, and is that, like, despite what I said about the start of this year seemed to be going well, and it really has, and I feel generally a lot better than I have in a while. I haven't had any significant dips in I mean, certainly not this year, nothing this year, but like it's been a couple of months.
I would say like 3 months.
Yeah, I think so. And which is crazy to me. Like it's very rare that I would get this long a run. But I'm
knocking on wood.
Yeah, I know, right? So I can enjoy these as long as they last. But I'm pretty certain I had a panic attack within the past couple of weeks.
You know.
That I know, and this is the thing. I'm like,
there's anxiety and there's panic.
Yes,
Both are awful.
Yes, I think that it definitely. I think it's only whenever I was thinking about it again today, because it had happened to me, and I was like, my pulse was racing, my heart was pumping like mad. I was really breathing in a really kind of haphazard pattern, and I was really kind of underselling it because talking to somebody about it, and I was only really thinking about it again today, and I was like, I was trying to like not worry somebody about it, and then I was afterwards, and then like it was only today I was like, yeah, I think it probably was. I think I fully got there. You know, I think I managed to like get through it, but it was brutal, and it was like, you know, just last episode we were talking about, you know, the lessons that I had learned from last year, at least I felt I had learned, and how they were like seeing me through to a better sort of path. But I'm still overwhelmed. I'm on the stepping stones to making this better, but I still have too much on my plate, and it's overwhelming, and really kind of, as I say, that, you know, never a clearer sign that something needs to change without having a panic attack. You know, that okay, this really needs, if I could accelerate this path, you know, even better.
Do you know what set it off?
I think it was probably thinking about the choir, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And there's a load of stuff happening with it, you know. Running these things, like, there is so much stuff that you can only share with small amount of people and stuff as well, and it's like there's just so many different things to navigate, and it's just kind of like I'm also kind of, and I hate that I have to think about it like this, I'm also aware that there's a chance I won't get any money from it this year, and I'm putting so much time and effort and energy into it, and I'm like, and I'm also not particularly, I don't really get any enjoyment out of it either, you know, and I'm like, what is here for me, you know?
Yeah. And now your body's giving you signals.
Saying, yeah, stop, slow down.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, so that was interesting. And it was good. I'm grateful actually that we're having this chat today, because it was good for me to kind of have an honest look at that again, you know?
I mean, the amount, just because I was able to see, you know, I got to go backstage when I visited you and like see how much effort and time and like, and I know that what I saw was just like a sliver.
Yes.
It's just, you know, it's hard. It's hard when your body is rejecting something that you're trying to
Yes.
like do, right? And it's like it's out of your hands at this point.
Yeah.
Like your body's made that decision. It's like you can't, right? It's like I'm
Yes.
giving you the signal that you just cannot do this. And it's like I just understand how hard that place is. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, I am, you know, and I'm trying not to be cross to myself anymore about this stuff, because it's just, you know, it is what it is. But like,
Yeah.
I think it's a pattern that reoccurs for me again and again, you know, and it's taken, it's frustrating, I think, to me, that it takes hitting panic attack or whatever for me to really kind of go, oh, hold on. I mean, you know, in terms of like really take it seriously and go, okay, I really need to take some proper action in this, you know.
Yeah, no, and that's okay because
Yeah.
you're human.
Yeah.
And like, I understand, you know, it's like you do create opportunities and things for people to do to gather people, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes it works, and you're like, this is awesome. Like, you're DMing, right? You're dungeon mastering.
That's
Not
true.
you like sliding into people's DMs. But like that is something you did and you're working on, and I can tell like you light up when you're talking about it.
Yeah.
And the choir has just been on this like slow decline of like, okay, you know,
Yes, so true.
Now you're like, okay, I need to extricate.
Yes.
At some
point. And I think that, you know, I mean, I think it has been stressful and a lot of work right from the start. It absolutely has. But like, I feel like my capacity or desire to keep putting so much of myself into it has really hit a hard end, you know, that I kind of need to
address. You have other things you want to do with your time, and that's okay.
Yes.
And we were talking about this offline a little bit. Like it will continue on, or it won't.
Yes,
and that's
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so that's really interesting. That's been an interesting sort of revelation and thing to deal with over the past couple of weeks in particular.
We owe $20,000 in taxes.
Jeez Louise, fun.
So, because I had a disability, I got disability last year, and I got a lump check for back pay because it took 4 years to. Sorry,
yep.
Just bumped the mic. It took 4 years to get it, and then they didn't hold tax. But they didn't tell me, and every time I tried to call, it's like you trying to get your taxes done.
Yes.
Every time I was on hold for like 4 hours, and then they'd hang up on me, and it was just like I couldn't get anybody on the phone, and like we had all this medical debt, and Mike's like, let's just pay it off, like we'll figure it out. But now we're here, so it's stressful, and it's like it doesn't feel good, and like we're talking about like what we'll sell to pay off, and like, you know, Mike's got his car projects, and
yeah,
you know, do we have to ask family for help? Like it's just like, ugh, I'm not able to work. It's just, and it puts me back in that place of like, should I push myself and force myself to like kill myself? No, right? But it feels shitty, and
like,
yeah, and it's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous amount of money.
It is a ridiculous amount of money, and it's like, and it's like, and it's also the whole thing of like, the idea that you shouldn't push yourself because if you're not ready, but like society is not friendly to that conceptually at all. It really fucking sucks.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I hate that for you. I hate that for all you.
Me too.
Truly. Yeah, so like I think that, it's interesting though. I think that it's interesting that we're both kind of like talking about things that are causing us some mental strain, but are probably feel like, would it be fair to say we both feel like we're generally on an upswing?
I think so. It's weird, especially for this time of year.
Yeah.
So, like, and I can't. I'm trying to put, like you, like I'm trying to put my finger on like what's the thing. And like our last episode, we revisited 2024, and I feel like a lot of the things that I did in 2024 kind of set me up or like reaffirmed the fact that like in general I make good choices. Like moving to California was a good idea.
Yeah.
Check, right? Even though I've because I'm me, I feel guilt about everything. I still feel guilty about leaving Oregon and like
of course
leaving family and all of that, but like in general, like we're all doing well, we're all fine enough, and little things might need tweaking, but I think we're good.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's awesome. I love that for sure. And it's hard to like, yeah, it's good really to actually take stock and look at that and kind of go, yeah, this seems to be working out quite nicely. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The other thing as well I was going to bring up was, I think I've mentioned this before, possibly on our last episode about this, was like I was getting really disillusioned with the standard sort of healthcare that was available to me for mental health issues.
Yes.
And I had a frustrating conversation with my GP about this last year. I can't even remember. It might have even been as much as a year ago, where he said to me, you may have to just learn to live with it. And I was kind of like, it really pissed me off because I was kind of like, motherfucker, you don't know what you're asking of me. Honestly, it feels like that a lot of the time, where it's like, I don't want to live with this at all. And I got really pissed off with it, and I really kind of then threw the head up, decided I wasn't going to engage with the process anymore. It's also kind of like, so as a hangover from lockdown times, basically the only way to get an appointment with a GP now is to wake up at 8:30 and constantly ring their phone number hoping to get a callback appointment. That's it. There's no appointments that can be made, and it's a nightmare because and that's not good, because you're just hitting read out again and again and again and again. And I've had people say, well, why don't they do a queue system? They do a queue system. This is to get the queue system to pick up your call. That's how overloaded they are. So that's a demoralizing experience in and of itself. But I did finally get through and had a conversation. My regular doctor wasn't there, and I'm kind of grateful for that. The guy I talked to was good. It was just nice to speak to somebody else for a change. And I said, this is where I'm at. I am keen to have a conversation about getting off antidepressants and perhaps maybe get a prescription for sleeping tablets. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't need them. Not that I, and this will be the tricky thing to navigate, because they're so reluctant to give you sleeping tablets over here, and I totally relate to that. But I don't think I really want to take a sleeping tablet every night. I know that that's a dangerous path to go down, but I would like to have something that if I have a couple of brittle nights of sleep, I can take something that will help me get a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
Yes.
You
know, I don't think that's an unreasonable request.
No.
But I feel like that will be getting that, and navigating that will be tough. So speaking to him, that doctor, it was great because he was kind of like giving me, I got the, are you doing physical exercise? And I'm like, yes, I'm a yoga teacher. And he's like, oh, very good. I'm like, yeah. And I get that wee hit of approval. And he was like, what do you drink? Do you take drugs? And I was like, well, actually, I quit weed about 8 months ago. And he's like, oh, well done, congratulations. And I'm like, oh, thank you very much. I'll take that as well. Any sort of a claim, I'll take it. I'll drink it up. Also says that I was like, I don't really drink very much either. Like, I drink socially with friends occasionally. I don't drink in the house. Like, you've seen my colossal shelf of alcohol that is just untouched, basically,
It's dusty.
It is dusty. It truly is. So there was that, but I think that helped make my case a little bit. So I think what we're going to do is he's going to look at getting me to have a conversation with an NHS psychiatrist. That might take a while. And they are the ones who might be able to prescribe me mental health stuff properly, So
it's so frustrating.
We'll see what happens. Yeah, truly. Yeah. So, I mean...
It's just, like, the hurdles to... And, like, I get it, well, I don't get it. I don't... The barriers to getting medication is a problem.
Yes. Also, just, like, the process of figuring out medication is a nightmare. A true nightmare. Like, and it is basically like, well, let's throw this at the wall, cross our fingers a lot of the time, Yep. I have a friend who had a mental health review, and it was a very long process to even get that to happen. And it's, to me, and they generously let me have a look at it, and it was like involved, and I could see the value of it, but upon seeing it, I was kind of like, everybody should have one of these. There would be value in everybody having this. Mm-hmm. Truly. Like, in terms of like having a healthy nation, it would be massive. Mm-hmm. But it's incredibly hard to do, and very rare,
I will say, like, it's different. Like, psychiatry, that is hard. It's hard to find one. It's hard to find one within, your insurance here is just...
Oh, yeah, I know.
It's such a barrier. But, like, I can make... We have this thing. Have I talked about Plush Care with you? I pay, I think it's like $16 a month for the whole family. And then we have a virtual doctor at our fingertips 24 hours a day. So whenever the kids are like, my throat is sore, I take a picture of it, I upload it to the portal, I look, and they've got an opening in 2 hours. We hop on the virtual call with the doctor. They talk it through, and then they're like, all right, yep, this is what's going on. We'll call it in. So I don't have to leave the house in order to except for to pick up the medication. It's like that, like, in that way, if you have insurance, like, that COVID brought this system into play for us.
Yeah, that's it. Because I think we have things like that. I mean, I'm pretty certain that we do, but I've not encountered them. And, like, it seems good. It seems, like, effective in figuring stuff out, does it? In terms of your experience?
Yeah. Well, and it just means, like, invariably someone gets a fever Friday night and everything's closed, right? Yeah. And so it's just like, all right, well, or a sore throat, or like spots on their tonsils or whatever on Friday night. So the idea that then the only option you have is either the emergency room or urgent care, and that you have to go and sit and wait for 3 hours to get seen. Yeah. So it takes all of that out.
That's a good point. And I suppose you're also removing that X factor of being in an environment with people who may potentially be contagious and all that sort of stuff. Yep. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I can see.
So, all to say, Ireland, why don't you try this system?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, they might have it. What do we know? This is one of the reasons. We're the black sheep for both Ireland and the UK. So
right.
Who knows?
Northern Ireland.
Northern Ireland. So yeah, I mean, it's one of the things, and I do think there is, I think that government funded healthcare is good and should happen for everybody, but I feel there's been a real concerted effort to undermine it in this country for like many years.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to pay for it, essentially, really is what it comes down to. I mean, like they don't publicly say that, but there's a lot of it's pretty apparent, and I know people who work in the system who tell me it's pretty apparent, so yeah, I think any sort of movement, anything you get from them is like a victory,
Yeah. But just like fighting your way to that victory, it's got to be demoralizing.
Very much so.
Really, like, especially if it's regarding your mental health, like the hurdles that they put in place, it's damaging.
Like, and I think you have this as well. I mean, there is still very much a suck it up attitude.
Yeah.
In this country, it's kind of like, but like, it really doesn't really grapple with the fact that people experience this life and, this world we live in vastly differently, and they have different needs and they have different, issues, and addressing those things on those terms is, I completely understand it's very difficult, but I think it's really important work, and it's something that I really think should be prioritized. I don't think it will be anytime soon, but that's my opinion on it, I guess.
So, I mean, for you, like, to make any, granted, you're doing your own stuff that's helping you, you've made lifestyle changes, and I think cutting weed out, it's a good idea for you.
I think so.
I think and so. It can cause, depression, and I literally, like, I don't even, granted it's legal here, but like, maybe because it's legal, I'm just kind of like,
yeah, like I like, and I'm never saying never when it comes to weed, but like, really, ideally, what I would like from weed is I would like to be able to buy some gummies and be able to pop a few at the weekend whenever I'm relaxing watching a movie, and I would be happy enough with that, because I never really enjoyed smoking. I don't really enjoy that process at all, and like,
I do. Problem. It's really? Like, I had the whole ritual. I would wear a certain hat and like necklaces in college. Oh yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, I was like that nerd. Like I would name my pieces.
Amazing.
Sabrina the Teenage Bong.
I like, and this is the like I totally get that. But like I said, it just never worked for me, any of that sort of process. And so like I just enjoyed being high, so like I think that would be my ideal, and I kind of wish they'd legalize it for that reason. And also then I could maybe get better access to strains that would serve me better as well.
Yeah,
do you know what
it's
I mean?
Like, it's insane here. You've seen it.
Yeah,
it's nuts.
I have.
Like,
it's completely nuts.
Yeah, it's like better than, it's like the Disneyland of weed.
Oh, so. It's a dream. It really is. Like, I mean, like, our experience in Oregon was just so delightful. Like, these small sort of, what would I describe them, almost like herb drawers, wooden herb drawers, and they were like bringing over these like drawers of weed so that we could smell them, and it's like, what is going on here? It rocked. It was lovely.
I went to one store, I don't know, last year, and like they're the ones that like, because I can't remember how many plants we're allowed to grow, plants, like have personal plants. It's like 3 or 6 per household or something.
Okay.
And you have to like have them protected, so that kids can't like get access or whatever. But you're allowed to have them on the premises. And so like I walked in, and it was just like all these little baby pot plants. And I was like, oh, like 18-year-old me was just like, ah.
I know, what a dream.
So excited, so excited. Yeah, I wonder, like, it's so strong. It's just too strong. Like we took the kids to the zoo the other day, and my had a gummy, And he was so high. He was just
Yes.
like, I'm too high. And I'm like, you just got to write it out. Like, you're in it. It'll end, but you got to write it out. And that's what I like about smoking. Like, I know that it's not going to last very long.
That's a good point.
As opposed to, like, being high for 10 hours, which, like...
Yeah, like, I mean, even, you know, that time, the first time we came over to see you, and we got some joints, and, like, we had the weakest joint, and it fucked me up. Like, it was so strong. And we smoked, like, half of it as well, between us.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Yeah. And, that, like, when we were in Portugal...
Yeah.
And smoked there, and I was like, this is the weed. This is the weed. Yes.
It's the kind of shit weed we get in Europe.
I want shit weed. Yeah. And so, like, when I go into the store, I think I've said this before, I'm just like, I want, you know...
I want your trash weed, please.
Yeah, like, my friend's brother's basement weed.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
That's what I want.
Yeah. It's a strain. That's a business idea. I'm gonna write this down.
I know.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, I think that's all the things I was wanting to talk about. I had down here. Do you have anything else you want to chat about?
Yeah, I don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
I still
sorry, elaborate.
Well, like, I just, like, don't, like, have I don't have a drive right now to, like, do anything.
Sure.
Like, I unless it's for the kids, like, that's where, and part of it maybe is just, like, the fact that I physically can't, you know, which is fine. And maybe that's just, like, my mind is connected to my body enough that it's just like, no, just chill and relax and, like, read books and listen to podcasts and watch Bravo.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Watch these weird racists in South Carolina. But, like, I just don't want to, like, I'm like, I could do yoga for 5 minutes a day, and I'm like, nah, I don't want to, you know, like, I just don't want to do anything. It's weird, but I don't feel bad about it. I've moved beyond feeling bad about it.
That's good. I mean, like, I you know, it's interesting you say that, and it is the thing that I had meant to write down earlier, because it's something that I've been thinking a lot about in terms of all the jobs and stuff that I have. And I have a few times, you know, people have asked me, well, what do you want? I'm like, I don't want to do anything. Like, I don't want to do any of it. I don't want to do I don't want to do shit. But I kind of know that if I had that reality, I would be bored immediately, and I would be climbing the walls, you know?
I'm not bored.
You know, see, that's nice.
No.
Kind of envious of that.
Yeah.
Like,
is this the dream?
It might be the dream, yeah. You might be living the dream, possibly.
Okay.
I don't, but at the same time, you know, this is just your reality for now, right?
This is, yeah. And, like, you've seen me, you know, in action.
Yes.
And interested and, like, doing all the things. Like, I just don't want to do shit. Like, all these things, books, screenplays, like, I just don't want to do any of it.
And, like, maybe a time will come when you do. And, like, I also kind of know in your life that you have been a full-on, like, workaholic as well. Yeah. So, like, maybe this is just a natural reaction to that. This is a time when your body needs to, like, gather resources and chill out.
It is. And then like, maybe I can feel it. Like, I'll be, like, laying in bed and I can feel my heart, like, beat. Like, I can feel my body just, like, working as hard as it can possibly work.
Yeah.
And I'm not doing anything. It's so weird.
Like, yeah. I think, yeah. And I know it's... And, like, you know, what the big problem is that society wants you to be a working cog in the machine at all times, always.
Yeah.
And, like, so much of even mental health stuff and, like, the resources that are provided are to get you back into a position where you can do that.
Yeah.
You know? It's fucked. But it is unfortunately the way of things. Yeah. I think you should keep doing that. As long as you can. As long as you're feeling okay about it.
I am. Like, I'm totally okay with it.
That rocks.
Okay.
I was my doctor sign off for you.
Okay. I think I need permission.
Yeah, you do.
Really do. And it's like from more than just my therapist. And my...
Like, yes, and like also like I am, and we have talked about this before. I am I do not believe you can force change. I think forced change has to come naturally. Do you know what I mean? I think it has to be, and like, yes, you could argue what does it mean to force change, but I mean that it has to feel right. You know, like if you try to like force somebody else to change when they don't want to change, they're not going to change, or like it's not going to be anything lasting. You know, so yeah, I think just write this out and see where it takes you.
That's kind of what I'm doing. It's just taking longer than I thought it would take. Like it started in December. It's almost March.
Yeah.
Like, do I need to go back to Mexico for stem cells, or do I need to build my Jaws Lego?
I mean, you know where my vote lies on that.
I know.
I mean,
and I can't afford it.
Which is
so
my vote.
My taxes.
No, wait. My vote is C, which is do neither and instead send me the Jaws Lego, dismantle it all.
I know, right?
So answer C, Beth. Okay.
I could totally do that.
No, do not do that. I would be grateful, but I want you to enjoy the Jaws Lego. Okay, I mean, anything else to chat about, or shall we wrap things up?
I think this is good. This is kind of where I'm at. Yeah. Yeah. I'm just in this. Not bad.
I mean,
not bad.
Cautiously optimistic for both of us. Then?
I think so.
Okay, I like it. I mean,
so now that we've talked about it, like the other shoe will drop and.
Yeah. The nightmare begins.
Sorry,
no. We've got it. We're on it this time.
I knocked on the wood.
We're on our upswing. It's just like taking a sweet time. Getting up
like
there,
glacial.
You know?
It's glacial. It's just glacial. Like watching that like wave just coming and curling and curling.
Come on.
Yeah.
You're like, come on.
I know.
We'll get there. Love it. Okay. Shall we move into our final wee segment?
Yes.
You know, especially after all this uplifting chat, is what's been bringing you joy this week?
Enchiladas and board games.
Okay.
So Mike was like, I think I'm going to make enchiladas and see if the kids like, because like no one eats the same food. I'm gluten-free. Yes. Charlie doesn't like, he's always making like 4 dinners. Everyone likes enchiladas.
Hell yeah.
4 people in his house like the same thing.
Nice. Were you able to get gluten-free wraps are pretty good as well?
Yeah. They are. Yeah, I get the gluten-free ones, not the corn ones, because the corn ones, they just fucking fall apart everywhere. Yeah. But, so we got, is it the Knights of Andor? Or something, game, I don't know. Andor something. It's a kid's, it's like, it's a kid's version of a bigger game, I think. And it's like, it's an RPG where you have to like.
Legends of Andor?
Legends of Andor. So you have to like bust out of town and like go across like this area, and there's like traps and things that happen as you're gathering like, you know, goods and weapons and stuff. And there's a dragon, and you've got to save these 3 wolf cubs. And it's like cooperative. Mike he hates games that are like competitive. So yes. I've been like trying to get like, we got Forbidden Desert
or Island or something.
We got Desert. Yeah. I'll probably get Island next, but I've been trying to like get games that are like we all work together.
I've got some.
Okay,
thoughts
so yeah,
on that.
Yeah.
I mean, like, because I do love a cooperative game. We're essentially playing. I don't know if that'll be a good one, but I'm playing with my friends Pandemic Legacy. So Pandemic is you are 4 virologists who are going around the planet to help stop these diseases breaking out, and you have to work together cooperatively to do it. And it's kind of a campaign based one. However, the one that I've been thinking about recently is
you're like, let me look at my library.
Yeah, I know. Well, Flashpoint is my favorite cooperative game. You are firefighters.
You told me about this one.
Yeah, it rocks. It's so much fun. But I'm not gonna bog down our joy section with board game chat.
No, this is like we're doing this like probably 2 or 3 nights a week now. So.
Oh hell yeah! I love cooperative games. I love them. So I've got a few that would be worth thinking about. Yeah, love it. Yeah. So the thing that's been bringing me joy over the past week and the past few weeks is a video game called Citizen Sleeper, and I think I've talked before. I don't tend to like really kind of like slow story based stuff. I like things that are a bit more involved, but more actiony. And this is wonderful. It's like a sci-fi game where you are this. The concept of this universe is that oftentimes people's personalities for a price are split, and a version of them is put into this sort of android style body called sleepers that are then like sold to companies for like to do jobs and stuff, and you are one of these sleepers who has broken free of this, you know, whatever corporation, and you're trying to like escape them and forge a path for yourself. So it's like an adventure game thing. I like in all of these games I like to play them like me, so like I guilelessly trust everybody. And
you're like a dog.
Yeah, I am. And I just roll with the punches. Like there was a guy who betrayed me and I went out of my way to bust him out of prison and things like that, and he kind of regretted it, and he's like, you know, he more than kind of regretted it. He was like, I was put in a bad spot, I'm so sorry. I'm like, okay. And it tends to play off quite well, actually, behaving like that, I found. So but yeah, it's just a really kind of rich story and really kind of well put together characters, and in a like a nice manageable form. Like I find a lot of those games that have those rich stories are like tens of hours, you know, so you're maybe talking like a 60-80 hour game, and I just have limited patience for those games. I like lose interest after a while. So it's like lovely Final just Fantasy, to have
where you're like,
yes,
okay, I gotta get I'm gonna play this same fight with the same guy for like 2 days.
Exactly. And like, so like it's just lovely to have that, and lovely to kind of spend time in that world. It's just really well put together and very, very satisfying experience. So yeah, anybody who likes, I guess, story driven games, I would definitely recommend it.
Awesome.
Yeah, love it. So in that case, before we wrap up completely, Beth, can you tell everybody where they can find us?
You can find us at bendypodcast.com.
Yeah.
And we're on Blue Sky now too.
Ooh, nice. I haven't even seen what Blue Sky looks like.
Don't go there.
Okay, fair enough.
Stay away.
Sold. You don't have to tell me twice.
Yeah, I know.
I love it. Okay,
you're
so
busy,
in that
you're
case,
busy enough.
This is also very true. Okay. In that case, folks, as always, I'd like to remind you to stay bendy. I really said to say I'd like to remind you to, and then we both did it. Sorry.
Oh, should I shut up?
No, not at all.
I can't take direction.
Okay, I can tell. All right, we love you.
Love you. Bye, bye, bye.